Alright guys, welcome back to another Fortnite video, and in this one, it is time for my week 10 challenges guide. But real quick guys, there was just a bit of important news. You can get a free Cuddle Hearts wrap in-game by simply entering any creator code, such as TheLlamaSir for example, in the item shop during the period February 8th through 22nd. Now something to note about that, the granting will apparently start with patch 7.40, but if you guys want to help support me and also get a free wrap in the process, you can do so by putting code TheLlamaSir in the item shop during that time. But anyways guys, back to today's guide. It'll feature the locations of the shooting galleries, the location of the secret banner from the loading screen, and also tips and tricks for all of the other challenges as well, as like the search chest challenge, visit outposts in a single match one. Just again, tips and tricks to help you guys get done with the challenges as fast as possible, and also get closer to unlocking the Ice King if you haven't yet, maybe the prisoner. And on top of that, if you're at tier 100, these can help you get extra XP to get like the different styles for Lynx and Zenith. But yeah guys, be sure to hit that like button down below if you find this video helpful, and also comment what level you guys are at. For me, I'm at tier 100 level 70. I don't think I'll make it to level 100, but I'm curious to see if any of you guys are close. But yeah guys, without further ado, let's jump into it. First of all, with a quick overview of the challenges in case you aren't home to see them. But in this video again, we're going to be covering the secret banner for this week, and then for the challenges themselves, we have got search chests in Dusty Divot or Lazy Lynx. I'll give you some tips on how to do that. You've also got hit opponents with chiller grenades or boogie bombs in different matches, visit outposts in a single match. I'll show you like all of the locations of those. Also deal damage with scoped weapons, get a score of 5 or more at shooting galleries, and that's a stage challenge, and I'll show you the locations of those. But on top of that, you have eliminate opponents with an AR and use turrets or damage traps, and that has to be in different matches. So yeah guys, definitely some very interesting challenges for this week, but let's go ahead and jump into it with the first challenge I want to cover, and that is the hit players with chiller grenades or boogie bombs in different matches. I want to start off with this one because I do have a couple of tips for it that will make it easier and you may not be aware of. And the first of which guys is just about the different items for this one. It's chiller grenades or boogie bombs. Now personally, I would 100% focus on just finding chiller grenades, simply because, well, I believe they're a lot easier to find. Of course, if you find boogie bombs, might as well use those as well. But chiller grenades, again, they are common rarity as opposed to rare rarity for the boogie bombs. Now again, I'm not 100% sure, but generally anything that's common should spawn more. On top of that, the chiller ones, they drop in stacks of 3 as opposed to 2, which means that you have more chances to do this with. And I mean, honestly, right now, I've been finding a ton of the chiller ones just in game, so I definitely think if you focus on those, you'll have an easier time getting this challenge done. Now, on top of that, what about the game mode? Well, as you guys know, big team limited time modes are probably best for this because you don't run into that risk of, you know, getting eliminated. So if you have like a bunch of chiller grenades and you miss one, get eliminated, you can then respawn and try with the rest. But then after that guys, let's talk about the secret banner for this week. That is right, it is a secret banner. I mean, obviously from the previous weeks, it's been switching in between a star and a banner, star, banner, you guys know how it goes. But this week is a banner, so if you want that extra little customization thing, might as well try and find this. Now as a reminder guys, before you even decide to do this challenge, you do have to complete the week 10 challenges, all 7 of them, before this banner will even show up on the map. And on top of that, something else you have to do is complete the previous weekly challenges before this one. As you guys know, I've talked about this before, but it seems like the loading screen challenges, which are basically the star or secret banner challenges, those unlock in an order from like 1 to 10, but they're not tied to a specific week. So like if you complete weeks 1 and 3, like the weekly challenges within those, you would only get the loading screen number 2 challenge. So yeah, for number 10, you have to complete 10 weeks of the weekly challenges. But once you have that guys, you then simply need to go to the location. Now I haven't quite gotten to this challenge yet myself, wanted to get this guide out to you as quickly as possible, but the loading screen for week 10 has been floating around a bunch on Reddit, Twitter, stuff like that, and as you guys know, there tends to be a clue hidden within the loading screen, and this one is pretty easy. So basically all you want to do is go into game, doesn't really matter which game mode you choose as long as it's not like playground, but then you want to go over towards the Gus racetrack. You actually want to go a bit to the west of it and south of the RV park. Now once you're there, you'll be at that spot where like a bunch of rifts can spawn, but instead of going right to there, you want to go over to this tree over here, and it should spawn underneath that tree right around here. And as always, if for whatever reason the location changes for some odd reason, simply check the pinned comment down below for updates, but I do think it should be right here. After that then guys, you have a search chests challenge for this week, and it specifically is to search chests in Dusty Divot or Lazy Lynx, which are definitely some interesting locations. And also I think you need 7 chests. So I do have a few interesting tips and and tricks to give you for this one. Now, first of all, what game mode is best? Well, obviously, guys, of course, a big team limited time mode is generally best for chest type challenges, because if one of these locations is on your side of the map in one of those big team limited time modes, it generally means it's safer to explore the chests, because most of the time enemies won't go across the line. I mean, sometimes they will, but most of the time it'll just be you and your team. But on top of that, guys, both of these locations, they're a bit different, but it's hard to say if one is exactly better than the other. Now, personally, I prefer Dusty Divot, just because I feel like the chests are a little bit more hidden. Lazy Links has a lot of open space, so that's why I kind of prefer Dusty Divot, but again, it's not really that big of a deal. Both of these locations will work fine, so I do think if you're doing a big team limited time mode, probably just drop on whatever location is on your side. And by the way, for Lazy Links, some of the chests that I go to that I never really see anybody go to are the ones right next to the pool. There are two potential chest spawns. Again, chests don't always spawn in game modes, but there are two potential locations right here. There's one right out in the open, and then if you run onto the inside, there's one that can spawn behind this counter right here. On top of that, inside the roof of the main building is good as well, and then you've got the buildings around it, and then Dusty Divot is pretty straightforward. So yeah, guys, shouldn't be too difficult. But keeping it going here with the next challenge, guys, you have the Visit Outposts in a single match challenge. Now, we've had a couple challenges regarding these outposts in the past, and so really, guys, this challenge overall is fairly straightforward. So basically what I'm going to do, I'm mainly going to show you just the locations of the outposts, refresh your memory on them, and then you can figure out which ones you want to go to. Now, I will say, as for the game mode, it doesn't really matter, but there's one thing that you definitely want to do, and that is find a Stormwing. Finding a Stormwing at one of these outposts, whichever one you start out at, will definitely help you, because obviously you can fly, so that just saves you a bunch of time. But yeah, as for the outpost locations themselves, again, let's go through those as a reminder, with the first of which being sort of in the desert biome, sort of between Paradise Palms and Fatal Fields. It's at like the edge of the desert biome, as you can see right here. Now, after that, if you keep going towards Lonely Lodge, there is one to the west of Lonely Lodge up on top of this hill. That one's generally pretty quiet overall, but if you keep on going, you've also got one near Lazy Links. So maybe if you're searching chests at Lazy Links, you can stop off at this outpost. If there's a Stormwing there, you can start off there maybe. But yeah, that is a good one as well. If you keep going around, you've got one near Pleasant Park to the sort of northeast of Pleasant Park, up on top of this hill right here. That one's fairly quiet as well because it's sort of higher up. But then if you keep going, you've got one in between these two hills. If you go like to the sort of southwest of Pleasant Park, it's in between those two hills. You've also got one in the Iceberg biome to the east of Polar Peak on top of this hill. And then if you go towards the center of the map next to Dusty Divot, there is one on top of this hill as well. Tie together whichever ones you want, and you should have the challenge done. After that one, though, you then have the deal damage with scoped weapons, which is honestly pretty straightforward. It honestly doesn't require that many tips, so I'm not going to spend too much time on this one, but honestly, the main tip that I can give to you guys is to play a big team limited time mode. Those can help a ton, especially if it's something like Team Rumble, because modes with respawns are great for dealing damage because you don't have to worry about getting eliminated. Now, on top of that, these scoped weapons are basically like snipers, the thermal scoped assault rifle, the new scoped revolver. I'm not sure if I'm missing anything else, but those are the main ones. So basically, you want to loot until you find one of those and, you know, use them with the scope. So maybe you want to be a little bit farther away from the enemies than you'd usually be. But yeah, that one honestly should be pretty easy. And speaking of easy challenges, guys, you also have AR, assault rifle eliminations, whatever you want to call it. But this one is really, honestly, probably the easiest challenge of them all. I mean, how often do you just get these eliminations with an AR just playing normally? I mean, it's one of, if not the main types of weapons that people use, and for good reason. They work great. So honestly, probably not even worry about this one. Save it until the end, because you may even just get these eliminations without even worrying about it. And I mean, if you go into a solo game and just play for fun, you're going to probably get this challenge done anyways. So yeah, guys, that one is very easy. But then after that, guys, we have probably the toughest challenge this week, and that is the shooting galleries challenge, which basically the tough part about it is knowing where the different shooting galleries are for these stages. But don't worry, guys, I've got locations to show you for this one, so you don't even have to worry about finding them. Now, real quick before we get into this one, guys, if you haven't yet, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below, because I post these guides every single week. There is a new set of challenges featuring tips and tricks to help you get done with them as fast as possible. So if you don't want to miss one of those, the best way to know about them is to be subscribed and have notifications turned on. But yeah, guys, getting back into it with this challenge, again, it is very similar to the shooting gallery challenge that we had in the past, but if you've noticed, recently those old shooting galleries are no longer at the same locations. However, that's because because this season's version is a stage challenge and there are 3 different stages, but they are brand new locations of where the shooting galleries actually are. And those are the ones that I want to show you right here. But again, in order to actually complete one of these, you have to go up to them, and as you will see, there'll be a spot to actually stand. It's like a metal plate, and once you stand on that, the targets will pop up, and you're going to want to make sure you have something to actually shoot at the targets, but knock a bunch of them down, and you'll be working towards completing this challenge. And again, you need to get a score of 5, which sounds pretty easy, but they actually get harder the further you get into the challenges. So as for the first one though, as is pretty obvious here, it is the one that is east of Wailing Woods. So if you go directly east of Wailing Woods, you will find this one near the edge of the map, and it is the simplest of the 3. But as for the second one, this one is to the north of Retail Row. So if you go to the north of Retail Row, as you can see right here, you then simply go into the woods, and there will be another one that you can find. And now for this one, I do recommend breaking this tree right here, just so it doesn't, you know, get in the way at all. But once you have that, you can get your 5 points fairly easily. Granted, it's a little bit farther than the last. Now, speaking of which, the one that is to the east of Paradise Palms, as you can see, it is over actually a little bit northeast of Paradise Palms, but if you go over to the edge of the map, you can find it right over here. Now, this one is the toughest because what you're firing at is really far away. So I do recommend getting like an AR for this one. Maybe something with a scope could help as well. But if you're careful with your aim, you can get the 5 done, but it may take a few tries. But yeah, guys, those are the 3 stages, so there you go. And then for the final challenge I want to go over in this video, it's a pretty simple one as well. It's the one that involves using turrets or damage traps in different matches. Now with this one, basically the main thing about it is that it is sort of up to RNG. The quicker you're able to find these, the quicker you're able to get this challenge done. So there's not really a ton of tips I can give you. Honestly, it is one of those ones where you're going to have luck on your side and hopefully find a bunch of these. However, if you are playing like solo just normally and you're getting eliminations, a lot of the times you'll come across other players that will drop these, and that can be a good way to go about it. But honestly, this is one that will just take a bit of time. Either way, guys, that is going to be it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, be sure to hit that subscribe button down below for more guides coming up in the future. On top of that, you can check out some of my previous videos here, such as on the left, going through a bunch of changes in the recent update of the game, such as a vaulted weapon, and then on the right, my week 9 challenges guide if you still need it. But other than that, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.